Thank you, Molly. And good morning, everyone. Students, faculty, honored guests, it is a great pleasure to be in Boise again, especially for the dedication of this sparkling new law school. This is a very positive step for law and for lawyers in Idaho, and will, I hope, be another significant part of the progress and development that makes Boise such a wonderful place to live and work. Now, I should make some sort of joke here about how the mayor and the governor encouraged me to say these good things about Boise and about Idaho, but you know that I mean them, and I do mean them. Over the last weekend, I got to view again one of my favorite movies, Field of Dreams. Many of you have probably seen it too. And its inspiring message, the message of the movie clearly applies to this new law school. If you build it, they will come. And they have come. There are so many things about law, the legal profession, and the American justice system that we should talk about today, but I'm only going to touch on a very few. First, as many of our speakers have mentioned, this is Pro Bono Week for Lawyers in the United States, a chance to remind ourselves as lawyers of our history of service to the poor and the disadvantaged, and our leadership on important public and civic issues in our home communities. I know that lawyers in Boise and the students at this school take this responsibility seriously and join the over 400,000 members of the American Bar Association in saluting this record of service. Idaho has a particularly strong tradition of such service, from giants of the legal profession like Gene Thomas and Alan Dingle, who I miss so much, to current leaders like Tim Hopkins, Larry Hunter, and Dick Fields. You have set a very high standard for the rest of the country. One of the great challenges of the American Bar Association, really bar associations around the country, from our very beginnings, is how to balance our responsibilities both to serve our members and to protect and enhance our justice system. We have even had stirring debates in the ABA about which priority, which ABA goal ought to go first, ought to be our primary focus. I think this choice, both in the past and particularly now, however, is a false one for the ABA. We need to excel at both of these responsibilities, or we are not doing our job as leaders of the largest voluntary professional organization in the world. We need to help our members be better lawyers and judges and educators, to serve our clients better, and to provide secure and productive lives for our families and our firms. Law is, and really always has been, a business. Abraham Lincoln, as a lawyer, frequently worried about collecting on fees from recalcitrant clients. Maybe he didn't have computer timesheets or billable target hours to ruin his day, but a significant amount of his time was spent thinking about collections and where the next client was going to come from. Those daily difficulties are particularly acute for lawyers now because of economic slowdowns and the lack of jobs. I think this is and should be an important issue for all bar associations. The ABA, with its outstanding CLE and publications and programs from our sections and divisions, is why many of us joined the ABA in the first place, to learn our craft more fully and to achieve greater competence in the profession that we have chosen. But this is a profession, not just a job. None of us has ever thought of it that narrowly. We are officers of the court. In every jurisdiction in which we practice, there are laws and rules concerning the unique role that lawyers have in our justice system. The ABA has a special responsibility in this area too. Support for the American justice system is particularly important now because of the many challenges facing the United States and the world. On several of those challenges, we have substantial agreement within our association and across our profession, at least on the importance of the problem, if not on the shape of the solution. For example, we know the impact of the lack of funding for state courts and the problems this causes for families, for employers, for all of our citizens. A truly independent and fully functioning judiciary is central to everything that we do as lawyers. We also know that legal education in the United States is the best in the world, that it is copied all over the world, but that it has to evolve to meet the many changes taking place in the legal profession and in the society in which we live. We have an obligation to young lawyers entering our profession to make sure that they are equipped to handle the professional challenges ahead. We also know that our profession is not as diverse as it should be, that women and minority lawyers face unfair hurdles in promotion and pay, and that our profession, to a large extent, does not look like the public that we serve. And we know that access to justice is more than just a catchphrase. It is what our Constitution guarantees and what our current practice does not fully deliver. Our support for the Legal Services Corporation and for more effective pro bono representation are important parts of a possible solution. Now, in addition to these topics on which we found substantial common purpose and on which we are already working with real energy and effectiveness, there are a host of legal and justice system issues on which we have not yet, as a profession, reached agreement, but which are at the center of many of the troubles facing our country and our profession. Lawyers have always had a special role to play in U.S. society, whether it's in the legislature, in community leadership, or in resolving disputes among competing interests. The rule of law affects everyday life in ways both big and small. Lawyers make a difference. We make a difference. Even when we are not yet of one voice on important legal issues, lawyers have provided public education, discovered important facts, and energized the debate on matters of our time. And I'm hopeful that we can do that on some of the toughest legal issues around at the moment. On immigration, is the sanctity of our borders so important that it leaves no room for immigrants to realize their dreams and participate in and enrich our society? What should our legislation be on this issue? I know that American business values the talents of the immigrants who are educated here and who want to remain here. On gun violence, which increasingly affects cities and even our smaller towns, is it necessary to allow guns in our universities, our public parks, in order to maintain our important Second Amendment rights? Can't we find some common sense protections from assault weapons and unlimited sales of ammunition that will keep us all safer? We can't keep digging graves where common ground should be. Perhaps lawyers can lead here where our legislators have failed to do so. On the death penalty, is our need to seek retribution against wrongdoers so all-encompassing that we can overlook the errors and the biases and the costs that are an unavoidable part of any death penalty system? The ABA's position on a moratorium on the death penalty until these problems are addressed is a balanced, I think, and a prudent one, and should be copied more widely. And finally, on election law reform, is our commitment to free speech underlying the Citizens United case so one-dimensional that we allow our constitutional leaders to be chosen more by the money they raise than by the policies they endorse? Is disenfranchisement of voters on the pretext of preventing voter fraud an acceptable part of any American election? The ABA does not support candidates or parties, but we do support fair and open elections. We should all be in a learning mode on each of these difficult issues and others that occupy so much time at the center of our national consciousness. There are many topics on which lawyers are no better informed than the rest of the population, but on important legal issues like these, I think we can say something useful and constructive on all sides of these issues in order for our country to understand the problems better and to start to resolve them. We are not looking for monsters to destroy here, but rather we are looking for better answers than have been produced so far. That is what lawyers do. Two other areas where our responsibilities overlap is in finding meaningful jobs for lawyers, particularly young lawyers, and at the same time in making sure that all parts of our society have access to legal assistance, no matter what their income level or their geographic location. This combination of issues will be addressed by a new legal job corps that we hope to develop to match underemployed lawyers with underserved communities. This is going to be a complex effort, but one I think that all lawyers everywhere need to pursue. I want to close with a word about the overarching value of an independent legal profession and independent bar associations. And because of the substantive legal work I do, I have seen how other countries suffer when lawyers and judges are subservient to the government and where there is no national bar association to provide lawyers and judges with the intellectual and moral muscle that is needed to insist on justice for all. The ABA has had its fair share of mistakes and failures during its long history, but it has helped provide America with a justice system that, with all of its problems, is the envy of the world. I am proud to be a lawyer, and I am confident that we can achieve a better and stronger America because of the work that we do as lawyers and as members of the Bar Association. We have a great deal more work to do. It is important work, and I am honored that we get to do it together. So thank you for being here this morning. I am eager to work with the lawyers of Idaho now and in the future. Thank you very much.